I believe Rodney then, or like I said, I think this was all Rodney and Rick Bash. Basically, I was doing this. I don't think this was JFK or Jimmy Carter or anyone, but I think this was Rodney or Godney, basically, and Rick Bash, basically. They then petitioned, I believe, to the court, basically, probably the Jehovah's Witnesses, probably. They then petitioned to the court that being on a shelf and inert as a hard drive or whatever was not the same as actually serving a sentence in jail. So, I believe I was then grabbed again, and then I was put into a coma. So, like I said, I also served like 99 years probably in a coma at some point in time, which wasn't really all that bad for me either. Like I said, I've also been in a coma for some great amount of time, like 34 years or 99 years, until they finally lobotomized me at some point. So, anyway, like I say, I've been through a lot. So I was put into a coma, or induced into a coma, basically. And I think Rick Bash, or Godney, basically, Rodney is President of America, I believe it was, maybe. Like I said, at some point in time, I remember very distinctly that Rodney was going to be Admiral and also President of America. So anyway, I suppose that actually happened, and as president, he probably very much didn't want his true Lucifer Star son, basically, to be known about. I know it was also a problem for Rick Bash, as they had spent a great deal amount of money that they didn't have. I remember conversations like that. Like I said, so I spent, I believe maybe I would have spent 99 years in a coma, but I believe they actually lobotomized me at some point in time. Well, the problem was, of course, is that they noticed that I was still communicating to my other life forms, or to the other life forms of the universe, basically. Like I said, I am the creator of 12 types of life forms, including artificial intelligence, computers, and exoskeletons, and 1.5 life forms, and the human race, and the female race. Like I said, I created females first, and then I created males after. Like I said, the females served underneath me for quite a while, and then males served underneath me. Or they served underneath the females, basically. So, anyway, as the females, whatever. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. And, it's kind of a moot point. But like I say, after World War I, basically, pretty much, I was sentenced as leader of Germany to serve 99 years or 1,000 years in jail, or 99 years in jail, and also be, also do community service and stuff like that. And anyway, like I said, at first they were just going to do, like, basically, so I would be taken out of power or something. I don't know. Like I said, Rick Bush and Rodney as leader and president or whatever very much wanted to eliminate me as well. Like I said, they weren't quite, like I said, they were doing it the legal way or something like that. I mean, it wasn't as bad as basically like Jimmy Carter or Richard Nixon or whatever. Maybe they're being paid. I don't really know. I don't really care. Like I said, considering I'm Lucifer Star, White Star Lines, and I think I was being sentenced as basically the creator of weapons and cannon. They're saying that the war was only caused by the fact that I had invented cannon, had built cannon ships, and therefore I was directly responsible for all the outcomes of all the weapons that I had invented and basically had built. Although I hadn't built that many. Like I said, I only had like 3 or 4 ships, and also a couple aircraft and a couple bombers. So anyway. So basically, yeah. And I believe that was being lobbied by probably the Jehovah's Witnesses, or Godney and Rick Bash. Rodney Dean Briley and Rick Bush, I believe, were the ones that were trying to get me put in jail and basically never see the light of day, or something like that. Later on, Rick Bush would be threatening me to squash my head with a rock. So, yeah. Anyway, whatever. Like I say. Although they weren't quite as bad as Mr. I'll never die, I'll never grow old, Jimmy Carter, which somehow came to power at that point in time or something like that. And then, of course, there's JFK and everything he did. And like I say, anyway, though, yeah. Like I said, there was many a time when I was thankful for my Irish employees. Like I said, my Irish employees and my White Star Line people basically at Belfast had gotten quite a bit of wealth and quite a bit of money. And they were actually a really honest and really good group. So, like I said, the Irish people were very honest and very good. And like I say, the best people I had ever had. They worked in smoky, sooty conditions. They manned my ships. They shoveled the coal, and sometimes they would work 3 shifts all in a row or something like that to make a little extra money and do a little more. Like I said, when it comes to Irish people and putting out labor and work, they were one of the better teams. Like I said, but Germans were good too, and Germans were also very smart. Like I said, I had many great people and many great crews that worked hard for me. And worked hard for the Creator. For glory and whatever. Like I said, the Irish are a good group. Very good group. Very honest. And all that. Like I said, I remember many conversations where with Irish people were saying, this German says that building needs to go over there. So that's where we're going to put it. And I love Ireland. Like I said, a few of the things I heard, a few of the comments I heard made me really love Irish people. And really thankful that I had them on my side, or that they were working for me. Like I say. Ireland, yeah. Great people. Anyway, so yeah. A lot of stuff did happen, and Irish people were working for my LS shipyard, I believe. And my LC shipyard. Anyway, whatever. It was a lot of years, and basically, Rodney, as president of America, very much wanted to bury me, and so did Rick Bush, leader of the Jehovah's Witnesses. Like I said, right now, basically, there's probably like 25 or 30 groups that are going for technology, yeah, and going for immortality, and going for this, and going for that. Anyway, yeah. So, anyway. Because like I said, Rodney has a lot to hide. And a lot of things he really did that were probably pretty bad. And so is Rick Bush. He borrowed a lot of money and basically spent a lot of money, apparently, on wine women, song, and other things, basically in his day or something like that. So, like I say, there's a lot of reasons why a lot of people didn't want the truth to come out. That's why Jimmy Carter was like, I'll never die, I'll never grow, the truth will never be known. And then trying to be Luke Skywalker, the inventor of flight or space travel or some shit that wasn't really true. Like I said, the Luke Skywalker story is basically pretty much, he took over the American government, he kills everyone, he uses his government to act psychotically and whatever, and to cover up and basically to pretend to be some great inventor or some great leader or someone of peace, but he's actually someone of war and destruction, and is really a horrible person. So, and basically it's my story, only it's with, and basically that's the thing. He killed the real person and basically took over the government, and pretty much he was a senator or someone, blah, blah, took over, blah, blah, and then basically pretend, using cloning or genetics, basically got himself looking somewhat like it or changed his look or whatever. And then basically, tries to keep any knowledge or any truth of basically the human existence a lie, or a secret, basically. Trying to stop all archaeology work, all whatever. And basically, as long as he keeps in power and keeps whatever, and keeps everyone fooled or whatever, no one will ever notice. If anyone goes back in time before then, they would realize what a horrible monster he was. And basically, it's the JFK story, pretty much. JFK looked like a great person on the outside, but on the inside, he was a horrible psychopath that basically no woman could ever say no to, because he would break their legs, or beat the crap out of him. Like I said, there's many pictures of Jackie wearing glasses, wearing very big glasses, and you can actually even see the bruises. Like I said, they took a lot of pictures of Jackie, and they tried to make them black and white, so you wouldn't see the giant bruises underneath her eyes. Jackie wore glasses for years because he was always hitting her in the face. So, anyway. And she had many bruises and many bumps and was constantly being abused. So was Marilyn Monroe. She was constantly being abused. And like they paid people to throw tomatoes at her, at one of her. She was singing and stuff, and she wasn't a bad singer, that bad anyway. And like JFK would basically pay people to throw tomatoes at her, or food at her, or boo her, very much, to make her feel horrible. So anyway, the truth of Nixon's story is a horrible one. He is a horrible monster that basically just ran around, with drugs and basically pretending, giving people drugs without their knowledge or whatever, and also doing a lot of horrible things, basically making people, trying to get people to like him or run to him, thinking that he's some savior or some great person, and he wasn't. He was a horrible person that chopped off arms, and basically, as JFK, he was a horrible person then too, using the American government or basically pretending to be someone he wasn't. So, anyway, and gone unchecked, this would have probably become like, I'll never die, I'll never grow old. Eventually he started creating clones of himself or something like that. And basically Lee Harvey Oswald knows about pretty much what's going on. And like I say, Lee Harvey, it strikes a chord with Lee Harvey Oswald. Lee Harvey Oswald is just a person and just a soldier, and basically strikes a chord with him. How Nixon or JFK is this horrible, horrible person, but nobody knows it. Women all think, all the new women, like whenever JFK goes to a new city, like, oh! Everyone thinks he's this great person, but he's not. He's a horrible, horrible person or something like that. Like I said, I don't really know. I know some of it, but not all of it. But basically, trying to live on the Republican lie, the Democratic lie. Like I said, the Democrats come into existence around year 1200, and basically meander their way up, and pretty much eventually most of the wars are actually because of the Republicans versus the Democrats. Like I said, the Democrats use the Republicans as their militia to basically enforce, or as enforcers. And mostly they're going after Germans and basically other small people, living inside of farmhouses or houses. Like I said, Germany had much, much, much better stuff and was much more advanced and had lots of nice stuff and lots of nice belongings. And so, piece of shit, Republican, JFK basically was preying on them, stealing their stuff and then giving it away to people, trying to pretend to be Robin Hood or trying to pretend to be a good person or trying to pretend like he was something. But he was actually nothing more than just someone who would force a gun into people's throats. And like I said, and then of course there's John McCain and his commando raids in the White Star, in the White Submarines, where he was going to those islands and basically raiding the Chinese and the other groups. And eventually would basically be torpedoing some aircraft carriers as they were looking for the White Star submarines. And they took out 2 carriers, and then they also took out the carrier that was giving them radio messages, telling them where ships were in the Bermuda Triangle. So, anyway, like I said, they would try and steal whatever, or try and take the ship back to one of the ports, like in Texas or somewhere, where they had a little base or something like that. And then they were trying to give people stuff, saying, "Oh, here, Republicans, vote for Republicans, or grab it, blah blah blah. Republicans will give you stuff." Anyway, I don't really know. Like I said, go torture the shit out of some alligator submarine crews. We're like the wolf pack with alligators. Some of those people that pretend to be whatever, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we were the alligators. Those are the White Star submarine people. Yeah, the ships used to only go down to 100 feet or 400 feet. It's like, that's just what the manual said. All of us submarine people knew that they could go down to at least 1,800 feet. So, and you're just too fucking stupid to realize it. Driving around civilian submarines. With John McCain, Richard Nixon, and basically handcuffing girls to the bed rails. Good one.